Welcome back to Activist Collective. This is the second official podcast. I was going to wait until tomorrow since I have a lot to do today, but I wanted to get jump on this because it takes me like 2 hours to figure out how to edit this stuff, and I appreciate your patience. A lot has happened since our last podcast. The first thing I want to touch on, of course, is the mid-air plane crash between the Apache helicopter and the passenger plane. It has been alluded by the dictator-in-chief that it's all to blame on DEI, Obama, Biden, women in the military, Black people. I mean, this man is the absolute worst. And with absolutely no evidence to back up any of his claims, he spewed out a whole bunch of hate. And I want to issue my condolences to every person's family who is on the plane, every military family whose loved one was on that helicopter. It is been written in the military times that there is a crisis in recruitment. Nobody wants to join the military. Their training hours for flight are far lower than they should be. And every time an Apache helicopter collides, which apparently is a big problem, 2003, 2004 were record high numbers for Apache helicopter crashes that killed military service members and our pilots. So every time one crashes, we lose a highly qualified and trained individual. I mean, who am I to say, but it sounds like we need to maybe look into getting some new helicopters. They say that those things are just one giant blind spot and you're flying blind with the help of, spotters. And that's not real safe. Not safe at all. So our condolences obviously go out to those families. But what we want to also make clear on this podcast, because we don't back down from a fight, is that this is 100% the fault of Donald Trump, who during a very shaky time in a government's and in a country's time frame, period of time, when governments are switching, he shook everything up. Instead of waiting for the dust to settle, he just started pulling jobs, pulling funding, freezing hiring, and he left a person in that control tower to do the job of two people. And we'll also, not gloss over the fact that Elon Musk, having his own problems with the head of the FAA, Mr. Whitaker, forced him out, right? So there was nobody to look over these positions to make sure that everything was going the way it should be going. Now, there is some rumor that there are going to be nationwide protests on February 5th, and that's going to be at your your state capitals. February 5th at your state capitals. And there's a multitude of reasons for people wanting to protest. Multitude of reasons. We are hearing talks of, we knew this was coming, friends, getting Obergefell in front of SCOTUS again, which is equal marriage rights. They've been gunning for that since it happened. And with Leonard Leo, with Russell Vogt, and that Paoletta guy winning their buyout of the Supreme Court, everything that stands for freedom is on the chopping block, including my marriage. My wife and I have been together for more than 20 years, married for like 18. We have a daughter. We have an 11-year-old daughter. And if they come after our marriage, I don't know what we will do at that point. Our ultimate goal, obviously, is to protect our daughter, right? And if that means fleeing this country and selling our house from another country, well, then that might be something we have to do. Because we don't want her growing up in a fascist state where her parents have no rights. When we had her, at least one of us had a right to her. And look, I don't need to get into the nitty gritty of it, but our goal is to protect our kid, as any parents would be. So we're watching that very closely. We are watching Elon Musk walk into the Office of Management and Budget and stick USB ports into these hard drives and collect personal information on military members, every federal employee. It has been an utter shit show since the moment that man was inaugurated, just the way we promised you it would be. We talked until we were blue in the face about Project 2025, and at one point we thought we had maybe gotten through to a lot of people. We thought we did. And that was until Donald Trump told them, I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about it. I don't know who those people are. And then he got real nasty about it and was like, I'll ruin you. I'll fucking ruin you if you say I know anything about that. And then that was enough for the maggots to just believe him. But here he is. He's literally ticking off these things in Project 2025. You can go down the list. I mean, he's probably, he's at least a third of the way through that whole fucking manual by now. That mandate, right? I mean, come on. I wanted to touch on another point real quick, doubling back to this plane crash. He was president in 2017, and in 2017, a program that helped to get people with disabilities into these federal jobs was entered, and he was the president, and it was that program that he is blaming that plane crash on. So I want you all to know that program was installed under his administration and remained unchanged under the Biden administration. So it is 100% his fault. If he's blaming it on that, then he's his own problem. The next biggest thing that I would like to talk about is the tariffs. Okay. What he's doing is cruel. It is inhumane. It is unnecessary. And everything that he's blaming it on is a lie. Okay. Canada has been our ally during when Pearl Harbor was bombed. Guess who jumped into action before the United States even jumped into action? Canada. When 9/11 happened, guess who came to our aid? Canada. When we just had these wildfires in California, guess who came and sent firefighters to help us? Canada and Mexico. And tariffs be damned, I bet you they'd do it again because they're good people. They are our allies. They are our friends. He's blaming this on fentanyl when only like 1% of fentanyl that enters the United States comes through a Canadian border. We know that he's lying. If you check the statistics, if you listen to the smart people in charge, then we know what's really happening here, friends. This is an attempt to destabilize a nation that would be easily taken over if destabilized by a Russian dictator. And here I can say it, Putin, that fascist fuck. He would love nothing more than to get his hands on the West and to destabilize it. And Donald Trump is helping him. Donald Trump has his own agenda, and he has to please his own puppet masters, and that is what he is doing. So he's also got to please the people who put him there, the Heritage Foundation, the rich people with the money. But he's also got to please Putin, the man who kept him in a job and financed his entire life. And that's no joke. These are all things you can look up, okay? These are all things that are easily researched. Now, another thing, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes, and I know this is not as professional as you'd like it to be, but I will get there, I promised. Time constraints are real in my life. Donald Trump has admitted that the tariffs are going to hurt American people. He came right out and said it. And he's got a whole swath of his maggots going, it's going to get worse before it gets better. That's absolute bullshit. Every single economist who isn't in the pocket of Donald Trump has told you they have nothing to gain or lose by telling you the truth. This is going to hurt poor people, blue-collar workers. It's going to basically start to eradicate the middle class, and we will very likely be tossed into a recession along with Canada. Now, Canada has like 41 million people, and we have like hundreds of millions of people. Our economies are vastly different. It will take longer for us, but within 6 months, Canada will be in a recession. People will be living in poverty because of what Donald Trump is doing. So when we go out and we protest on the 5th at our respective capitals, we have a lot to protest. We have a lot to fucking fight for. And I know, excuse me, that everyone's saying, don't go protest. Don't go protest. It just is going to give him a reason to start martial law. Let him. He's going to do it anyway. We can't just let him do this to us, you guys. We are a democracy, and he is shredding it. He is shredding it. Look at, this is another thing he's doing. A memo was just sent out by the Department of Transportation, issued under Donald Trump, that DOT grant funding will now be giving priority to areas where marriage and birth rates are highest. This ensures that the largest amount of funding is prioritized to red states. Red states, because, well, we got the woke libs in the blue states going, I don't want to have kids. I'm not ready to have kids. I would rather have, in the South, things are different. In certain places, things are different. Sometimes we just get married and start a family, and that's the way life is for some people, but not for blue states. It's very different. We also know that he wanted to prioritize FEMA funding to red states and withhold it from blue states if they didn't go along with his bills and things like that, and his EOs. Let's also I don't want to gloss over this either, that there was another plane crash. I know this is all over the place, friends. This is just a culmination of my weekly notes, okay? But there was another plane crash the day after. A jet carrying a child and her mother were flying back to their home country after having a successful surgery that saved this child's life, when this plane crashed down and burst into flames. I mean, just 7,000 pounds of jet fuel just in Northeast Philadelphia. People on the ground died. People on the plane died. There was a near miss. The day before the midair collision that was very eerily similar at the same airport. A passenger plane was coming in for a landing when an Apache helicopter got in the way. And the plane that was coming in for a landing and backing off the jets had to go back up. And these are dangerous maneuvers for these giant planes, friends. This is something that only a skilled pilot could pull off. So I want to say to you, and I want you to hear me, this is probably going to be one of the most important things that I say to you during this podcast, however long it ends up being. Do not get on an airplane if you do not have to. For your safety and the safety of your family. The FAA is being controlled by people who are unqualified. There are people there who are left to do the job who are overworked, who are being treated like shit. And mistakes can easily be made that can cost lives. And you saw that play out on the 29th, I believe is when it was. No unnecessary flights. But here's another thing, friends. I'm going to be looking into how the American people can help boost the Canadian economy. Tariffs be damned. So I'll be researching that, talking to certain people and seeing if I can get some information on that. But here's the thing we need to do. And I need you all to listen. Ears on. That's what we do to the kids where I work. Ears on. We're done with unnecessary spending. We are done going out to eat if we don't have to. We are done spending extra on clothes if we don't need it. We are done going on vacations if we can't truly afford it, or going on vacations to red states. Consider vacationing in Canada. Consider boosting their economy by vacationing in Canada. Their summers are beautiful. Their water is beautiful. Their national and provincial parks are absolutely gorgeous. They take pride in their land and in their climate efforts. So we are not shopping at Walmart. We are not shopping at Target unless they reinstate their DEI. We are not shopping at Home Depot or Lowe's. You can quickly on the internet get a list of companies who are fighting back against this DEI ban. Microsoft is fighting back. Apple is fighting back. Elf Cosmetics is fighting back. Costco is fighting back. And there's plenty fighting back. So look for those companies and stick with them. Do not buy if you do not have to. Lumber is going to get astronomical. If you're building a house, you better get all your lumber now, if you can. It might even be too late now, because majority of our lumber comes from Canada. So houses are going to cost more, which makes rich people richer and poor people poorer. So I believe that is all. Let me go and check my notes. So as I was checking my notes, friends, we got some breaking news this Sunday, and that is that the Trump administration has revoked protections for 300,000 Venezuelans in the United States who were given temporary protected status. Venezuela's government, as you know, has been very unstable. Political dissidents had fled to this country. This signals that these people are no longer safe in the United States. He will be coming for probably migrants from El Salvador, Sudan, Haiti. There's a large Haitian population in Ohio. And here's his statement. Well, yeah, let's see whose statement this is. After reviewing the country's conditions and considering whether permitting Venezuelan nationals covered by the 2023 designation is contrary to the national interests of the United States, in consultation with the appropriate U.S. government agencies, pause. There's nobody in these government agencies. The only people running these government agencies are Donald Trump and his fucking cronies, okay? Who haven't even been confirmed yet, but he's got them in these offices. And this is okay, anyway, I'll pick up. In the appropriate government agencies, the Secretary of Homeland Security has determined that Venezuela is no longer continues to meet the conditions for the 2023 designation. I don't understand how he can be so cruel. I mean, you gotta be a sociopath, which he clearly is, a malignant narcissist, which encompasses sociopathic tendencies. I hope that you have gotten your hands on that book on tyranny and that you're reading through it. Let me know in the comments what you think of it. This is really sad, friends. I want to say don't worry about this man issuing martial law, but he's going to do it regardless, and we can't just take this. We can't just sit back and do nothing. So please remember that they are planning a mass protest at your capitals on the 5th. Make sure that you are holding back your spending on anything. And I will get back to you guys in one way or another about how we can help to boost the Canadian economy in some way or another, because what he's doing is literally it's inhumane. It's punishing a country who has been there for us in our darkest times. So everybody, do your best to stay on top of the news. You can't bury your head in the sand at this time. I know it's hard. Follow Midas Touch, follow the people you trust, and stay away from legacy media. We'll talk soon.